And I want to welcome all of you to the Southern Dallas County cities and the presentation. And of course, we're live. And of course, today we're very glad to have a Public Works Department, a very able Public Works Department, who continues to coordinate our cities so that the left hand will know what the right hand is doing. And, that we're all, attached to the same body. So anyway, we're glad you're with us this morning. There's I think we've done general housekeeping, correct, Public Works. And with that being said, I'll go to Lissa, and then she can come back. So Lissa Shepherd, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to our District 3 Cities meeting. Today, we're going to have Gina Nash is going to present, and she's going to talk about what's going on in Sachse. She's with the city manager with the city of Sachse. And if you would like to pose a question, there's a Q&A box, and certainly please feel free to ask any questions you have. And then also joining us is Mayor Jeff Bickerstaff. So I'll introduce both of our speakers. I'll start off with the mayor. He has been a resident of Sachse since 1999, and he was recently elected mayor in May of 2022. However, he's been on the council since May of 2013. He has enjoyed serving the community through his connections with the Sachse Economic Development Corporation, the North Central Texas Council of Governments, and NTTA. He has served all three of those agencies with his council service as a liaison. And he also serves the community outside of local government through his membership as a Rotarian, the member of the Rotary Club. And he's been doing that since 2001. And I know our Aggies, our Texas Aggies, will be excited to know that he has received 2 degrees from Texas A&M University, one in geography and another in urban and regional planning. So he could substitute for us folks at Dallas County doing that. And currently he owns Bickerstaff Insurance and Financial Services. And then our main speaker is Gina Nash, and she has been city manager of the city of Sachse since 2015. Before that, she served as the assistant city manager for the city of Forney. And she's also served in Arlington, Chicago, and North Richland Hills. She has a Bachelor of Arts degree in political science from Texas A&M University and a Master of Public Administration from UNT. And she's actively involved in professional organizations that support city managers, including the ICMA, TCMA, and currently she's president of the North Texas City and County Management Association. So with that, I'll let her take it away and update us on what's going on in Sachse.
All right, thank you, Lissa. Thank you, Commissioner Price. I'll just give you a brief overview on the next slide of what I'll be presenting about today. Try not to overwhelm everybody with a bunch of data. On the next slide, just a quick overview. I'm going to talk about just some basic information, data, and trends relative to Sachse. Give you sort of a quick year in review of what we've done in the last year and some of our major projects. Also talk about our bond, our GO bond that was approved in November of 2021 and the projects listed on that, and just give you a general update and of course allow a lot of time for questions as necessary. So we can just go to the next slide after that, just to give everybody a little quick geography lesson of where Sachse is. Lissa, on the next slide. Next slide, there we go. Sachse here, you'll see surrounded in red on the map, but you can see kind of we're nestled right between Garland, Richardson, Murphy, Wiley, and Rowlett. And you can see that there's a line across the page, sort of a black line to the far left, and then it becomes sort of faded white throughout. That's sort of the dividing line. Of south of that line is where Sachse is in Dallas County. We're 2/3 Dallas County and 1/3 Collin County. So you can see that we're served by 2 districts, Garland ISD and Wiley ISD, as well as Dallas County and Collin County. Just to give you some perspective of where we are. That big yellow line at the bottom is the President George Bush Turnpike, and the line that sort of bisects us diagonally, sort of northwest-east, is Highway 78. On the next slide, you can see we've had a massive amount of growth. On the left, you can see Sachse in 1968 versus to the right, Sachse in 2020. We've had a massive amount of growth, but really where you can see in the trending in the numbers in the box to the left is our big growth occurred really in the early 2000s, certainly with the advent of the President George Bush Turnpike, the widening of Highway 78, and then, of course, all of the massive growth of business that occurred really within the Richardson corridor relative to State Farm and Raytheon. We experienced quite a bit of rapid growth at that time. On the next slide is really just some kind of breakdowns of information about Sachse and who we are. We love data here, and so we spend a lot of time kind of analyzing that information. Really helps us, obviously, relative to development and moving that forward for us. So we break us down here in a box to the left by generation. So you can see that Sachse is a really young community overall, very young. A lot of millennials, a lot of Gen Zs, and even some old Gen Xers like me are hanging around. In that middle box, you can see our population by race and the breakdown of that. Just something to note within that breakdown of those populations, at the bottom, there's a gray box that says Hispanic origin. Just to be clear of what that means, that's defined through self-identification. So it doesn't refer to ethnicity or race, it's self-identified. And so that's how that box is checked. And in terms of the diversity index, what that is, it's a scaled measure that ranges from 0 to no diversity to 100 complete diversity. So that index really includes areas with a diversity index value near 100 means the population's more evenly divided among race and ethnic groups. And like I said, a value of 0 means it's just one race or one ethnic group. So a value of 50, for example, would mean an area's entire population is divided evenly into 2 race groups, but where we are at that 68.9, that puts us right about, from what the data is telling us, is that it's a condition where the probability that 2 people randomly chosen from the US population belong to different race or ethnic groups, which is about 68%. So you can see in there, we've got a very strong Asian population here, and we do have an African American and African population here as well, but a good mixture of folks. And then to the right in the bubbles, you can see just some of our basic information about the number of households, our population. That's the latest that we have, the 27,166. We are a pretty educated group of folks with bachelor's degrees or higher of 37%. Again, pretty young at 36.7 is our median age. A bigger than average family size of 3.39, and our household median income is about 102,428. On the next slide, again, just some more breakdowns of information of households by income and what the percentages are there. And to the right are owner-occupied housing units by the actual value of those homes. Certainly, as we've seen across Dallas County and Collin County, the rise in home values, and Sachse is certainly experiencing that as well. And you can see that reflected in both of those different breakdowns of percentages. On the next slide, again, just another slice and dice of who we are. While we have that population of 27,166, our daytime population is mostly relative to students in schools. here. Most of our folks are leaving to go work other places. We're not a big employment center, although we do have, since COVID happened, more and more of a work from home component within Sachse. And you can see the breakdown, mostly white collar jobs within the city. Like I said, lots of schools and other things like that. Then blue collar and other services. Our single family permits in the last year, just like across the Metroplex, residential is booming, and certainly our value of our single family permits is quite high. Right now, we've got some multifamily under construction, specifically a senior living component down at our big development of the station, but the value of that permit is quite high at $36.5 million. We've got a lot of good commercial new construction that's going on the ground, certainly remodels, and those values are great. And we've had a great number of certificates of occupancy for a city our size of 38 over the last year. That's very high for us. On the next slide, again, another look at just our trends overall. You can see the types of employed population that we have in Sachse by industry, and that's broken down. And then you can see sort of the changes for us over the last 10 years of our largest employers within the city. And again, school districts obviously being pretty high, but one of our latest businesses that Commissioner Price was there for our groundbreaking, Evolve Biologics. Once that business is completed, they will be in our top 3 employers within the city. But you see that we've added more things like some senior living, Trinity Regional Hospital, which opened last year. And we hope that we can continue to add some more employers to our city to help diversify our tax base and give some relief to individual residential property taxpayers. On the next slide, again, just another breakdown of the data that you can see kind of how we've changed over the years and, you know, our demographics in terms of age. We're getting younger, lots more children coming into our community, being born in our community, young families. And so you are seeing some of those, the youngest children increase. And again, as you saw earlier, more of an influx of millennials and Gen Zs into our community as we grow. So on the next slide, this just kind of gives you a very high level. You can see where our primary trade area is and our population. This has really helped us, as I showed earlier, with all the cities that surround us. We're at a really unique point in our growth that we have some great opportunities for commercial development because of, as I pointed out, with Highway 78 and the President George Bush Turnpike, we have more opportunities for folks in their travels to and from or through Sachse. They are able to not just drive through, but be able to spend money here, and we have more opportunities to develop commercial. Again, trying to relieve ourselves as much as we can relative to the burden on the residential taxpayer. On the next slide, you can see where we are relative to our valuations, our property valuations and sales tax. We've really been fortunate, certainly through COVID, relative to our sales tax numbers. We have a Walmart that did really well, and we don't have a lot of specialty retail here. So we were able to keep Walmart and Amazon pretty busy and keep our sales tax pretty strong. Through that time, we were very fortunate, and we've actually seen a good bit of growth in that area. And certainly our property values, as through all of Dallas County and certainly through the North Texas area, have remained very strong and have only strengthened in the last several years. Just to note, I'm sorry, let me go back real quick. At the bottom, where we talk about the breakdown of our sales tax, we have of course, our general fund. We do have an economic development corporation, part of our that's half-cent sales tax. We have a street maintenance fund, which is a quarter-cent sales tax. And then at the bottom, we have an MDD, a municipal development district, which is specifically for development of parks infrastructure. And so that's where those funds go. Okay, next slide. So just kind of try to do a quick year in review of some of the things that we've been able to accomplish just in the last year in Sachse. On the next slide, We were very honored to be able to be a recipient of the Governor's Cup, the project that I referred to, Evolve Biologics, that the commissioner was able to come to our groundbreaking. Annually, Site Selector magazine selects a state to receive the Governor's Cup who has the most economic development related and growth projects within their state. The state of Texas received it for the 11th year in a row this year, and the governor invited Sachse to come with Evolve Biologics back in March to receive the Governor's Cup, as we were one of the catalytic projects that sort of moved that dial to help the governor receive that honor yet again this year. We have been featured in the Dallas Regional Chamber's Economic Development Guide for this biotech project, and we've really enjoyed our partnership with the Dallas Regional Chamber. They're a great organization, have been very helpful to us. We've been featured in the Dallas Morning News for the station project that originally started as a $250 million mixed-use project. We thought would be $250 million at its full life cycle. It's now already valued at $500 million, and it's not complete. And then, of course, again, as I said, the TEDC Economic Excellence, we also received that recognition this year as well. On the next slide, we talk about the station, that project. That's really been such a huge thing for Sachse and being able to be a part of diversifying our tax base. It's really sort of a life cycle project that includes single family homes, townhomes, multifamily living, not just for any age, but also the age restricted that I talked about, 55 and older, that's being constructed right now. You can see the picture. There are first two restaurants, Manny's Uptown Tex-Mex and the Brass Tap, and more restaurants are coming. Cold Stone Creamery is going to be opening pretty soon. A pho restaurant. We have a flower shop in there, and we'll continue to grow that as time goes. And then, of course, Trinity Regional Hospital just opened last year. And then we included a picture here from the groundbreaking of Evolve Biologics that we had back in December, an important project at the station. On the next slide, there's another project we're really excited about. It's the 5th Street District, just off of Highway 78, kind of near City Hall. Sachse doesn't have a downtown. A lot of Texas cities make the decision at some point in their life cycle where they keep old homes or they don't. As Lissa mentioned in the beginning, I was in Forney for several years, and I really enjoyed the fact that we worked hard to preserve some of the older parts of town. Unfortunately, Sachse did not keep some of that, and so we're trying to sort of take that old part of town and create a downtown. And so we had some old structures that we had to go through and that were not safe, and do ultimately asbestos survey and abatement of those and some demolitions. But we've gone through a process now to sign some memorandums of understanding with a couple of restaurants, and we're very excited about the opportunity to create that downtown feel and really make a walkable place for people to come and enjoy. It's not good drainage in that area, so we've been working on a plan there, and we're hoping to get phase 1 construction started next year. This was a unique opportunity where we were able to create a tax increment reinvestment zone and along Highway 78 to really not just start this development and make it catalytic, but to ultimately do the redevelopment that we really need along Highway 78. On the next slide, we talk about partnerships. That's such a big deal to us. We really have worked very hard since I've been here in the last 7 years to improve our regional network. Again, as I've said, the Dallas Regional Chamber has been a huge advocate for us, and they have been great. One of the pictures at the top that I am in with Kevin Shatley, who's at the Dallas Regional Chamber. We had an opportunity to go up to Chicago last year and talk to site selectors that are interested in coming to Texas and be able to talk about why Dallas and why you should come to not only Sachse, but any of the other cities in the Dallas area and what we have to offer. We participate in something called East Side Allies, which is the cities on the east side of the Dallas area. We're kind of the farthest west of that, but again, building relationships within those cities to be able to sell our communities as a whole and how important that is in the development community. And then, of course, working on our partnerships with brokerage and developers all across, not just the Metroplex, but as I said, nationally, to build our brand. And because whether they come to Dallas or they come to Sachse, it's all good, you know, rising tides raise all ships. And so we want to be a part of making sure that we help build the brand of why the Dallas area is the place to come. We work very hard on our community relationships with both school districts. I'm going to brag on Mayor Bickerstaff a little bit. He has been such an integral part of building relationships within Garland ISD. As a Garland High School graduate, he is very active within the Sachse High School Band Boosters. He announces for the band. He attends events for the Garland ISD. He teaches teachers on financial management. He presents to students. I'd call him amateur, but he's an amateur meteorologist and spends time explaining all of those weather to the community. He has his own Facebook page, but really spends time out in the community and actively promoting Garland ISD. And of course, we have our relationships within Wiley ISD that we build as well. Our chamber, and we work very closely with them. And we have a great food pantry here that has been very active in the last 7 years. We are not immune to folks that need food and need help, and we have partnered with 5 Loaves to help expand their food pantry during COVID. We shared in some of our CARES Act funds to make that a reality, to help those who have needed help, especially in the last couple years. But again, we aren't immune from that, and we have worked very hard to try to make sure that we're a safe place for people to be able to come to get food and assistance that they need, whatever situation that they may end up in. But these are just some pictures of some ribbon cuttings and some of those opportunities we've had to strengthen our community partnerships. On the next slide, we talk a lot about within the Economic Development Corporation, how we want to not just bring businesses in that are national brands, but we want to help our local businesses. And so we started last year a new program to spotlight our local businesses. And at every Economic Development Corporation board meeting, we bring in representatives of these small businesses. And really what our goal is there is give them an opportunity to give an overview of the business, but help them to build and strengthen relationships with us and in the rest of the community and spotlight them and try to get additional business for them. Sometimes for the small business, they're just trying to work day to day to keep the doors open and keep the checks written to the employees and pay bills, but we really want to help promote these little guys, and these are the ones that have come from forward to us just in the last several months, and it's really been a great program. Sachse Nutrition has really taken off since us helping promote their brand. Uriel's Master Woodworks, just a plug for them. If you are a person who owns a piano or needs a piano rebuilt, these guys are master woodworkers, and they do an incredible job with what they do. And they have not just customers locally, but nationally, people who need help with their pianos and woodworking and things like that. So just another thing that we try to do to help plug our local businesses and build relationships with them. I'm going to go over next some of our major projects. Alberta already talked about our first one before the meeting started a little bit. On the next slide, our Sachse road widening project. This has been a great partnership with Dallas County. It was a 50-50 match. You can see the aerial up top, our roundabout with our widened roads, and to the right there, you can see that little treed area across from on the right-hand side of that picture. That's our 5th Street district, where we're going to be, rebuilding that downtown. And this has been an amazing project to work on with Dallas County, not just from transportation perspective, but it's also going to help us relative to economic development and be able to develop that project with the wider sidewalks and being able to get that traffic through there to be able to we're going to create parking over there and all sorts of things. But that's been a great project. And like I said, Alberta, the roundabout has worked really well. And we have really appreciated our relationship. So this was a 2-lane asphalt, well, 4-lane total, 2 lanes in each direction, asphalt road that had been had some terrible drainage along the sides for the residents for years, and now we have a 4-lane thoroughfare, 2 lanes in each direction. There's sidewalks, we have on-street parking, and what's great is the drainage has been fixed, and those folks, when we've had really bad rains now, they don't have their yards and homes flooded, and it's really been a great project. So the project's essentially done. We've just got some minor things that need to get finished, but ultimately should be done by the end of June. And again, we've appreciated that relationship and that project. On the next slide, we are about to reconstruct Merritt Road, and these will be major improvements on Merritt Road, essentially from Pleasant Valley to north of Sachse Road. It's about 1.6 miles. So again, currently that's a 2-lane asphalt road. Again, appreciation to Dallas County for helping us resurface that road back during the shutdown during COVID. This is a very heavily trafficked road, and it was in terrible shape. And through a great partnership with the county, we were able to get that road resurfaced. And so when everybody started getting on the road again, they weren't bottoming out their car on the way to the PGBT. So the proposed improvements for this project, we'll be widening Merritt Road. It'll be a 4-lane divided roadway, 12-foot wide inside travel lanes, 14-foot wide outside, and a shared use lane for bikes and vehicles. We'll be constructing a sidewalk and a shared use path, as well as some very much needed drainage improvements. And about 0.2 miles of this new location, you can see it's kind of small up there in that long rectangular box. You can see how the road just curves ever so slightly to the right. That's the ultimate construction right now. That road is an offset intersection, very dangerous. We have traffic issues there all the time, and we have accidents there. And through a partnership with Dallas County, Collin County, the North Central Texas Council of Governments, we're going to be able to realign that roadway. It'll help prevent the flooding. You can see there's floodplain in there. So it's a project that's going to cure a lot of ills and really be truly regional and assisting folks from all the cities in the surrounding areas be able to get down to the George Bush Turnpike. And ultimately that intersection will be signalized. Like I said, it's currently offset and it has stop signs. So again, this is going to be a huge improvement traffic-wise for us throughout our city. On the next slide, we're doing a redevelopment of Heritage Park. Again, you can see where it's pointed out. It's kind of the northern part of the station. It's adjacent to Hudson Middle School and Sewell Elementary School. And we have partnered with PMB Capital Investments, who's the major developer for the station, to spend an extensive amount of money, several $1 million, to enhance Heritage Park, which is our largest park in Sachse, to truly realize it as a regional park. It'll have a water feature, splash pad, amphitheater, boardwalk, walking trails, etc., and really kind of be the crown jewel of the station, an amenity that people regionally can come and enjoy. It doesn't cost them any money, and they can participate in that. And if they want to go and get an ice cream cone or eat lunch after in the development, we would appreciate that as well. But again, just another feature for us to be able to provide to our residents. Next, I want to talk just a little bit about our bond package. In November of 2021, our voters approved a very large bond, and on the next page, you can kind of see the breakdown of what the projects were. So in continuing on with the project that we worked on with Dallas County for Sachse Road, we want to continue that the entire way up to the city limits of Sachse into Wiley. So phase 2 would be from where we currently stop the project at Miles Road all the way to Merritt Road. And then phase 3 would be Merritt Road to Country Club Road Drive, like I said, just basically at the city limits of Wiley. So as part of the bond package, again, a lot of streets and road projects. We have Bailey Road from Highway 78 to Sachse Road. That's a terribly failed road that's in massive need of it has to just be rebuilt, and it will be rebuilt with drainage. It's currently just bar ditches. Williford Road, again, another huge connector road within our city from 78 to Bailey. And West Creek Lane from Sachse Road to Timber Creek Court. And then we'll also have a package in there of reconstructing many neighborhood and residential streets within the city that are long overdue, that are old, and we'll be able to also get in and fix water, sewer, and drainage. And again, all these projects were approved by the voters in November of 2021. On the next slide, you'll see the first project within that bond is the animal shelter. So our animal shelter was originally an automotive garage back in the 70s and 80s, and the city bought it to create an animal shelter. And we have just way outgrown the space, and it just does not serve our needs. And so we have started design on that project, and we estimate completion of the project sometime later in 2023. Just to quickly give you just a little bit of a development update, on the next slide, it kind of lists out some of our newly opened and recently opened retail and restaurants, and you can see that we've got some development kind of near Woodbridge Parkway, lots of new businesses on Highway 78 and in that corridor. Then, of course, on the George Bush Turnpike, Trinity Regional Hospital, but also a new company called Applied Energy that relocated from Carrollton to build a much bigger facility out here. They build all different types of parts for oil rigs, and so they are doing that here. Then, of course, down at the station, all the new businesses there, and a new Montessori Academy on Miles Road near Sachse High School. Some coming soon. We've got a couple of new things that are coming to us. I kind of have mentioned some, but not others, but new businesses on Miles Road, kind of an infill project for us that's great. A dentist, pizza, Masala Twist Express. I'm excited about that. And it's an Indian restaurant, Millie's Donuts, and a new pediatrician's office that'll be going in there. And then on the next slide, you can see again some more retail phases, some medical office that's going down the George Bush to complement the hospital, and the station retail. They're about to build phase 2, and again, more infill retail that you'll see along Miles Road, kind of near the George Bush. On the next slide, lots of residential projects. You can see the numbers there. We're not stopping, and we're under construction for residential. Just like I said, most North Texas cities will be reaching build out though over the next couple years. These are going like crazy right now, but we're kind of filling in some of the last residential zoned lands, pieces of land within Sachse, and so going quickly on those. And then finally, on the last slide here, this is kind of the information that we use, and I didn't realize I was wearing my Sachse shirt today, since a lot of people don't know how to pronounce our name. We're trying to teach people how to do that, but we're really trying to focus on our identified catalytic areas, explaining where we are, what developments we're working on. As I talked about, the 5th Street Mixed Use District, of course, the PGBT Turnpike District down at the station, and then we've got some areas around Woodbridge Parkway. But the only way we can do that is by capitalizing on all of this momentum, but it's our partnerships and working really hard to develop those within the region, and prioritizing what type of businesses we want to target and attract to come to our community, so we can have the kind of positive growth we're looking for. So with that, that's the end of my presentation, and Commissioner, I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Well, Ms. Nash, John Wiley Price, thank you for that presentation. As I look at your second phase of your multifamily, you talked about 300 units. When you were earlier talking about it, you were talking about 55 plus. Of your multifamily, how many of them how many multifamily do you have in the city?
So currently we have something called the Woodbridge Villas, which has about 400 plus units on Highway 78. We have another one called the Mansions, I think it got bought and has a new name now. I think it's called Olympus, which has got another 600 units. Pros Ranch, which just recently opened up off of Ranch Road, which is another 300 plus units. And then down at the station, you have those Lynn's apartments that I talked about that just opened with another 300 units now. They're going to add another 300. And then, of course, as I talked about, that 55 and older, they're adding those units as well. So that's about all the multifamily I think we have here in Sachse. A couple of old ones and then some new ones.
Okay, so basically you are at about 19, about 2,000 units total.
Yes, sir, citywide.
And for a city, basically your side, and especially with that young population, it's interesting that you don't have any more than you talked about being built out here in a few years. How much more is scoped with regards to multifamily? Because you don't have any public transportation, correct?
No, sir. No, we've got at about 400 more units coming at Miles Road at that new development that I was talking about. There's some self-storage and there's some mixed use in there, and they're going to build 400 units down there.
With regards to your capital projects, do you have a listing of participation either on the design side, on the design side and the construction side with regards to those projects, and especially the Dallas County projects?
I do, yes, sir, and I can provide that for you. At this point, we really want to get the rest of Sachse Road constructed, and we would love to continue the 50-50 partnership with Dallas County. And I know that Dallas County will be able to participate to some extent. I'm not sure if it's going to be at the speed in which the council and the community wanted to move forward. And so that's why we went ahead and sold the bond and assumed that we would have to take on the lion's share of that because the roads are in such terrible shape. But I can get you the full listing. We work with Alberta and her staff, regularly on the calls for projects.
I was telling Envoy at their groundbreaking, and while they were being lauded by the chamber and the state, coming out of Canada and I guess employing, and it's my understanding that we've offset that about a year now. They made that request that they needed an additional year to kind of
Yes,
get up to speed, and I'm okay with that. But about 300 employees, and for those of you who are on the call who don't know anything about Envoy and what they're doing, at the end of the day, I explained to them it was good to have them in Sachse, the northern part of my district, because probably better than 80% of the material that they were utilizing is coming out of the southern end of my district. And I've been able to kind of track that down. So it's going to be interesting to see how Envoy moves forward with their employment and the individuals. Since, as I said, I wasn't able to get a profile coming out of Canada because Department of Labor EEO-1 is the only way I get a profile on a company's past. I didn't get anything, so I have no compass as to where they're going. But I hope they'll be encouraged to understand that.
Yes, sir.
So I do look forward to getting that other, information. How long were you in Forney?
7 years.
Okay. And your staff is, how large is your staff there in Sachse?
We have about 165 employees. Varies based on seasonal part-time, but about 165.
Can I get a, because I keep a binder on all of my cities, can I get a profile on your workforce and what your executive team looks like?
Absolutely.
Okay. Alberta, as she talks about our ability to ramp up with regards to that road at Thoroughfare, where are we?
With the 7 call projects and the projects we've been working with, Saxion,
Yes.
right now we're trying to actually get the agreements through the process. So that's where we are right now. Of course, Saxe Road, that one's a long time coming. We finally got that one into construction and moving forward, but now we're having to work close in hand on the Merit project. So that's been our focus, is how do we get Merit done? And we've had a lot of coordination meetings on that. So we just need to get the ball rolling and get the design process going, and working with the cities of Wiley and others. That's what's key right now. So we're underway, we're moving forward. But there's a lot, as usual, there's a lot to do, and we have limited funds, but we're moving forward, and that's what's key. And just like with Merritt Road, we got COG coming to the table to participate on that one. So that's what's key, is getting things moving, and then getting agencies like COG involved to help move projects forward.
Yes, and as Alberta, we Merritt Road stalled out a little bit during the shutdown because we were struggling to get environmental clearance on that project, and it
Right.
kind of got stuck in federal highways for several months. And so it took a little while to get our environmental clearance, but now we're well on our way and acquiring right away and moving through that process. So hopefully we will get this back on the track that we wanted. That really set us back.
But I think I've gotten a new binder on Sachse, but okay.
What we'll do, Commissioner, is I think we had given you an update before, but we'll go back through, Gina, and make sure that we get the current information, because that's been a while back. So I'm going to make sure I get the current information and get that to Commissioner so he can put that in his binder on each one of his projects. So we'll work with you on that.
Yeah, we've got some new stuff relative to Merritt Road. So yeah, we definitely need to circle back. We just got some information from Half and Associates this week, so we can work together.
All right.
Okay. So yeah, if I can get a profile on, like I said, design and construction participation on each one of those projects.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone else have any?
I think Melissa or Lillian or Zataria, do you guys have any questions from anybody else?
We did have some questions come through. One was, could you elaborate on the East City Allies group, and are there cities that participate in that?
Yes, so we are part of a larger group. Like I said, we're the farther and western group of the Eastern group. Forney, Rowlett, Mesquite, Balch Springs, Terrell, Kaufman, Rockwall, Royce City, Fate, Garland, Sunnyvale, Crandall, and Seagaville all participate. And I'm happy, Lisa, to send you that list so you can have it. But those are the cities that all participate in Eastside Allies.
Okay, great. Thank you. Is there any future planning for public transportation?
Not at this time. We have exhausted all of our sales tax capacity through the different avenues that I talked about: economic development, street maintenance, sales tax, and the municipal development districts. So we don't have any more capacity left within our sales tax.
And then the area that you talked about where the downtown is being created, you had talked about the kind of rehabilitating the old buildings and then signing agreements with some restaurants, I believe. Are there local businesses going into that area?
I can't announce yet who they are, but one local business is going to become, actually, they're both local business. One is an expansion and one is a new concept, but same business owner. And these are actually both Dallas County businesses, but both of them are either, one is doing same restaurant, just a new location of it, and in addition to keeping the current one, and then the other one is opening a different type of concept, but still keeping their old restaurant.
Great, that's great to hear. That sounds neat. Thank you.
Speaking of that, Ms. Nash, what is the value of the Fifth Street project in your projected value?
I can get that number for you, Commissioner. We've only projected out just the first 2 restaurants, and we haven't fully put together what the whole area is going to be valued at, because it's based on ultimately what we're going to have. But I can give you a range, and I can send you more information and details about it.
Okay, thank you.
So,
And because it's a TERS, Mr. Mayo, are you on the call? If he's not, then I'll get this up to him.
Yeah, he may be in the audience. He's probably he's not on this one.
Okay. Just want to get that. I want to get that up over to him. Louis Tamayo is the director of planning and development for Dallas County.
yes, sir. He's worked really well with us on the Evolve project. He was critical.
I know that, but I just didn't know. I saw TERS on this one, and so I didn't know if we'd been asked to participate with regards to this project.
No, sir. That one is just it's a city TERS.
It's city TERS.
City only. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, Lisa, I don't have anything else. I think she's pretty much, she's gone through a great presentation, and I think we're all better aware that East Allies piece, and I heard some of my used to be cities, I guess, but I heard Mesquite, I heard Balk Springs and all. Is that just a coalition of collaboration, Alberta? Is it similar to CETA? What is the East Allies? I heard it, but I didn't quite.
I was going to ask that same question, Commissioner. Okay. I wanted to find out more details about it. So yeah, we're interested, especially since we, have our CETA and Best Southwest. This is an interesting collaboration here. So yeah, actually, Gina, if you can give us more details on what usually happens with that group.
Sure. It's primarily, it's a group of economic developers. So it's the economic development arm of each of those cities. And we get together, like I said, on a quarterly basis and talk about not just what's going on in our cities, but even how collectively we can work together to talk to businesses to come into the area in general. And so it's a networking and sharing opportunity, but also when we think that there's something that could benefit all of us, we work together on leads overall as well. It's really kind of been the brainchild of Mesquite, their economic development director, Kim Buttram. She and I worked very well together in Forney when she was in economic development there. So she's kind of created that and created this big group, and it's been a great opportunity for all of us. Again, information sharing and just looking at opportunities that could benefit all of us as a whole. And we meet on a quarterly basis, and I'd be happy to share that information with y'all if you have an interest in that. I think our next meeting is next month, so I'll share that with you.
Okay, thank you. CETA, and of course, they may not be familiar with CETA since they're new to District 3, but it's the Southeast Area Transportation Alliance, and it was to balance and offset our Best Southwest, which is also District 3, and it's a collaborative, again, so that we began to know what is going on with our cities. It's not the economic development arm, but it's also where we can collaborate on thoroughfares and regional impact as we all move forward. And so that's CETA. Again.
And Gina, we can give you, if we haven't given you information on some of those meetings, usually CETA is once, actually, we have it in April. We've been having it online, and then CETA Best Southwest, we come together in around October and do another presentation. And then, of course, we have these District 3 meetings every month. So we can provide that information to you if you haven't gotten it before.
That'd be great. Yes, please.
Sure.
We did have one question regarding a bike plan. Does the city have a bike plan or one planned for the future?
We don't necessarily have a bike plan per se, but what we are trying to do is when we're on these partnership projects with Dallas County and our other regional partners, we're building bike lanes. And when we try to go back and retrofit projects, we're looking at putting in bike lanes as well. And ancillary to that, we're continuing to try to chip away at building just more trails in our community to connect to other communities as best we can. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. As I mentioned, we have the bike lanes that'll be built on Merritt Road, and then of course Sachse Road has that capability as well, and on those roads.
Any other questions of Ms. Nash?
That's all the questions that I have received.
Okay. Well, I know you have a 40th year celebration this Saturday in Sachse. I've been. It's the only thing I knew about Sachse before I put it in my district. And your councilman out there, I think it's been in business there for 40 years.
Yes, sir.
Is very internationally known. That's the only thing I ever knew about Sachse. I picked it up on the cover of Hot Rod magazine, and Frank Millsap and his family have Sachse Rod Shop, and so this Saturday at the high school, I think they're having their 40th anniversary, and some of the people from the city of Dallas and I and Mr. Martin and some of us plan on at least being in attendance. So
excellent. It's, if anybody who doesn't know, Sachse Rod Shop is not just known here, but internationally, and he will have cars there that will blow your mind. He's really, he and his folks are very talented.
They are. Councilman Millsap, thank you. Okay. Is there anything else from Ms. Nash? Anything else, Lissa?
We did receive one more question. It is, how comprehensively do you coordinate or promote potential development adjacent to the President George Bush Turnpike corridor?
Well, we do several things. As I mentioned, we spend time certainly at trade shows. We put information out in the regular ways that economic development corporations put out marketing, but the way we really try to do it is relationship based. We spend quite a bit of time networking and being in touch with the major brokers and developers within not just the DFW area, but nationally. And so, as I mentioned before, my trip to Chicago last year, we continue to work to promote that area in every way that we can through all the things that we're doing. Like I said, through relationships and through our contacts, that we have. And we're just going to continue to work that. I think the Evolve Biologics deal has been huge for us. We have received a lot more contacts and interest in what we're doing because of that project and the attention that it has received. And that has led to a lot more opportunities for us to be able to promote it and promote that area. Location is key, and its proximity to the George Bush and to DFW Airport has really been a huge selling point for us.
And for those of you on the call, one of the things that, and I've said this to my state representatives for years, we really can't compete in the southern part of my district with what goes on in the northern part, just from an economic development standpoint. The state has an opportunity to weigh in and engage in some of these projects. And when we look at the numbers, clearly we really can't compete. And the Evolve project is one such project, not only in proximity to the airports, and that's one of the things we do, Ms. Nash, in my other presentations. We start to try and talk about not only the importance of aviation in proximity to projects, my general aviation airports, and we've had a presentation on that, in the Lancasters, in the Mesquites. Sigville's not quite there yet, but but general aviation airports, and we're trying to leverage that in terms of projects as they come into our area. What makes, again, the Evolve project, it's manufacturing, which is totally different than a lot of the logistics and the 2 million square feet that the Walmarts come in and want to place in our community. Well, in my district. And so there is a kind of difference. And so when I begin to ask these questions, I'm contemplating what's going on in the entire district as opposed to just one part of it. Anything else, Lissa?
We did get another question. A person was wondering if all of the city trails are maintained by the city, or if you have any friends groups that get involved and maintain the public trails.
The city maintains all of our trails. We haven't had any friends groups. We do projects like we kind of have we have an annual Arbor Day celebration where we go around and do cleanups and take care of debris and things like that. But in terms of the day-to-day maintenance, the city handles that.
Great, thank you.
Okay, anything else, Ms. Shepherd?
That's the last question that we received. Thank you.
Okay. And is the mayor still on the call with us, or did he have to leave?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Right.
He's here.
How are you, Commissioner Price?
Okay, how you doing, Mayor?
Yeah, good, sir.
Any concluding remarks?
I would just like to say on behalf of the mayor and the council, we are very happy to be part of your district. We are happy to be able to work with you, and we appreciate your cooperation and look forward to continuing the great relationship we have with Dallas County.
Well, thank you. We look forward as well. Thank you. Okay. Okay, Ms. Shepherd, Ms. Blair, anything else?
I think, Lissa, we're going to get out the presentation to everybody as usual.
By all means.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
That's it, sir.
And Ms. Nash will do the follow-up on those that query that I asked. And thank all of you for being on the call today. It's I think it helps us all, and as she talks about that Eastern Alliance, or what we talk about CEDAR, for us all to know what the other is doing and to leverage that. At the end of the day, while we're all probably looking out for our own cities, municipalities, at the end of the day, it's the county's position that we regionally impact one another, and whether it's about thoroughfares or how we leverage businesses coming into the area. And so I just thank all of you for being on the call, for your attendance and time. And Sachse, good luck. We look forward to it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mayor, Ms. Nash. And if nothing else, Ms. Shepherd, Ms. Blair, to the Public Works crew, thank you very much as always. And if nothing else, have a safe weekend coming up. I'll call it June 18th in Sachse, a Juneteenth weekend. Frank compliments up. I love that. But anyway, I look forward to being out there with you this weekend. So thank you all, and be safe and stay well. If nothing else, we are adjourned. Be safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye now.